Detaching yourself from others. When you are alone at the beach, mountain, forest, penthouse, or basement, or in a quiet home that is surrounded by trees and birdsongs, there is a possibility that you are having a perfect moment for deep thinking. God's presence and His Spirit are with you more than when you are in the company of others. When a person is alone, he or she can connect with his or her Creator. This is why we often find people going on pilgrimages to holy sites, climbing mountains, or simply sitting in solitude for hours at a stretch. When you are in a group of people, there is always some distraction. Even if you are sitting quietly, there will be some noise around you, some sound that will distract you. The mind, it is said, is like a monkey. It is very difficult to keep it focused on one thing. The human mind and spirit, however, can function optimally only in environments free of disturbance and noise pollution. Have you ever noticed that when you are in a crowded place, your mind is all over the place? But when you are alone in a quiet room, your thoughts become still. When you are surrounded by people, there is always some distraction. Even if you are sitting quietly, there will be some noise around you, some sound that will distract you. This is why seers and sages of old always recommended that one should go to a secluded spot, a quiet place, when they want to meditate or pray. In such an environment, you can truly connect with your higher self. And God also is said to answer prayers when a person is in a secluded location, when he or she is alone, far from the noise and the distractions of the world. But when you are alone in a quiet room, your thoughts become still. When you are surrounded by people, there is always some distraction. Even if you are sitting quietly, there will be some noise around you, some sound that will distract you. This is why the scriptures say that one should detach oneself from others. Detachment does not mean that you should not connect with people. It only means that you should not be carried away by your associations. You should be strong enough to break free from the limitations others might impose on you. You have to be strong enough to go against the flow. At times, going against the flow is necessary for your good. Flow with the flow when it is beneficial for you, but go against it when you have to. This is the law of life. We have to learn to live with others. But at the same time, we must also learn to be alone, to be comfortable in our own company. When you are comfortable in your own company, you will be comfortable in any company. The secret of life is to be able to enjoy solitude, and to be able to connect with others. This is the secret of true happiness. So the next time you feel like the world is too much for you, take a step back and detach yourself from it. Go to a quiet place and connect with your inner self. You will find the answers you seek. You will find the strength you need to carry on. In the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, we often forget the power of solitude. When you find yourself alone, whether it's in the serene depths of a forest, the quiet confines of your room, or atop a mountain peak, you open a channel to connect with your Creator. It's in these moments of isolation that you can truly collect your thoughts and meditate, free from the distractions of the world around you. The human mind and spirit thrive in environments devoid of disturbance and noise pollution. It's as if our very essence yearns for these pockets of tranquility, where we can hear our own thoughts and, perhaps, the whispers of the divine. Many believe that God answers prayers more readily in these isolated locations, be it on a mountaintop, in a secluded basement, or simply when we separate ourselves from others. Consider the practice of hiking in a quiet forest. As you breathe in the fresh mountain air and feel the crunch of leaves beneath your feet, you may find yourself drawing closer to God. The same can be said for those moments of solitude in a high-rise penthouse, or the cozy confines of your own bedroom. It's not about the location itself, but rather the state of mind it allows you to achieve. However, it's important to note that isolation isn't always used for positive purposes. Witch doctors and those involved in illegal activities often seek out secluded spots, far from prying eyes. But this video isn't about promoting such practices. Instead, it's about understanding the power of solitude when used for good. When you detach yourself from others, you create space for positive ideas to flourish. It is in these moments of quiet reflection that you might stumble upon the very thoughts that could propel you to the next level of success, or even make you famous. More importantly, these ideas have the potential to benefit humanity as a whole. So, the next time you find yourself alone, embrace it. Use that time to connect with your inner self and, if you're so inclined, with your Creator. Let your mind wander and explore new possibilities. Who knows? The next great invention or world-changing idea might just come to you in one of these moments of solitude. Remember, this isn't about supporting ideas that go against the law of the land or the will of God. Rather, It's about providing an understanding of those special moments when the divine seems to draw near. So, whether you're on a mountaintop or in your own living room, don't be afraid to seek out those quiet moments. They might just be the key to unlocking your full potential. In the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, we often forget the power of solitude. Detaching yourself from others isn't about isolation. It's about creating a sacred space for divine connection. Just as hiking in the quiet forest of a mountain, with its silence and fresh air, helps you connect with God, so too can finding a moment alone in your penthouse, basement, or even your own room. Throughout history, mountains have been revered as sacred places, often associated with profound spiritual encounters. When Jesus chose a mountain for prayer, it wasn't just about the elevation. It was a deliberate act to emphasize the significance of the moment and his desire for an intimate relationship with God. The higher we climb, both physically and in our thoughts, the further we distance ourselves from the trivial worries of this world, and the closer we draw to the divine realm. But remember, this isn't about physical location alone. It's about creating that mental and emotional space where you can truly commune with the Almighty. Whether you're in a bustling city or a serene countryside, the key is to find that moment of solitude where you can focus your thoughts and open your heart to divine inspiration. Jesus himself valued these moments of solitude, often retreating from the crowds and the demands of his ministry to spend time alone with God. This wasn't a sign of weakness or avoidance. Rather, it was a source of strength and renewal. Prayer in solitude allowed him to connect with the Father on a deeper, more profound level. Now, it's important to understand that this concept of detachment and solitude isn't exclusive to positive pursuits. Witch doctors, witches, and those involved in illegal activities also seek out isolated locations, away from prying eyes. But that's not what we're advocating here. This is about finding that space where you can cultivate positive ideas, the kind that will propel you to the next level, or even make you famous while benefiting humanity. So when you feel that urge to retreat, to find a quiet space where you can think and pray, embrace it. It's in these moments of solitude that God often draws near, whispering inspiration and guidance. Whether you're seeking a breakthrough in your personal life, your career, or your spiritual journey, remember that sometimes the first step is to step away from the noise and create your own sacred moment. This isn't about supporting ideas that go against the law of the land or God's teachings. It's about understanding and appreciating those precious moments when the divine feels closest to us. So find your mountain, your quiet room, your sacred space. Detach from the world for a while, and you might just find yourself more connected than ever before. To your purpose, to humanity, and to God. The human mind is a remarkable instrument, capable of extraordinary feats when given the right conditions. One of the most powerful ways to unlock our potential is by detaching ourselves from others and creating space for personal reflection and growth. This concept is deeply rooted in both psychological principles and spiritual traditions. In biblical times, mountains were revered as sacred places, often serving as the backdrop for profound divine encounters. The choice of elevated terrain for spiritual practices was no coincidence. As we ascend these natural wonders, we symbolically distance ourselves from the mundane concerns of everyday life, allowing our thoughts to soar to greater heights. Jesus himself recognized the importance of solitude and elevation in connecting with the divine. His decision to retreat to a mountain for prayer underscores the significance of these moments of isolation. By separating himself from the crowds and the demands of his ministry, Jesus created an environment conducive to deep, uninterrupted communion with God. This practice of seeking solitude in high places is not merely a religious ritual. It reflects a fundamental truth about human cognition and creativity. When we remove ourselves from the constant chatter and influence of others, we create space for our own thoughts to flourish. It is in these moments of quiet reflection that breakthrough ideas often emerge. The power of detachment lies in its ability to free our minds from the limitations imposed by social expectations and collective thinking. When we step away from the noise of the world, we can hear our own inner voice more clearly. This internal dialogue, unencumbered by external influences, often leads to innovative solutions and profound insights. Moreover, the act of physically distancing ourselves from our usual surroundings can have a profound effect on our mental state. As we climb higher, whether literally or metaphorically, we gain a new perspective on our challenges. Problems that seemed insurmountable at ground level may appear more manageable when viewed from a higher vantage point. This principle of detachment for personal growth is not limited to spiritual pursuits. Many great thinkers, artists, and innovators throughout history have recognized the value of solitude in fostering creativity and problem-solving. By creating space for independent thought, we opened ourselves to new possibilities and potential blessings that may have remained hidden in the bustle of everyday life. In essence, the practice of detaching ourselves from others, even temporarily, is a powerful tool for personal development and spiritual growth. It allows us to tap into our inner resources, connect with higher thoughts, and ultimately draw closer to our true potential. Whether we seek divine inspiration or simply a fresh perspective on life's challenges, the act of stepping away and climbing our own metaphorical mountain can lead to transformative experiences and breakthrough moments. There are conflicts and negative ideas that are motivated by either close relationships or bad thinking and spirits. It happens to everyone. But you can choose between the bad ideas and the good ideas. Bad ideas are always associated with costs and consequences. When Moses was alone on Mount Sinai, God spoke to him and gave him the 10 Commandments. Now, listen to me. No one can come against you unless God allows it, and everything that comes against you is allowed by God, so that you can be transformed by the power of God. What's amazing is that when you are alone, you can hear God's voice clearly. You have no other gods before me. You shall not make idols. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. You shall keep the Sabbath day holy. Honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet. You know, there is a spirit in the world today that tries to convince people that they should not detach themselves from people. They say things like, don't be too independent. Don't be self-reliant. Lean on me. And there's nothing wrong with leaning on people. But when you lean on the wrong person, you will pay a price. When Moses was alone, he heard God's voice. But when he came down the mountain, the people had built a golden calf, and they were dancing around it. When Moses got angry, his face was shining. Aaron was afraid to look at Moses. So, Moses detached himself from the people, and God communicated to him and said, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. When you detach yourself from people, you become like Moses, and you can lead people. You can deliver people because you've been transformed by the power of God. When we were young, our parents took care of us. But as we grew older, we had to learn to take care of ourselves. We had to learn to walk on our own. If you want to be effective, if you want to be useful, if you want to be an overcomer, you must detach yourself from people. People try to hold you back, but God wants you to break free from the crowd. It's time to detach yourself from those things and those people that are not helping you. Detach yourself from the negative voices in your head. Detach yourself from fear, doubt, worry, anxiety. Detach yourself from everything that would cause you to miss the voice of God. You know, God can meet you in the wilderness or in the mountains. And when God shows up where you are, amazing things begin to happen. You become like Moses, a powerful messenger or leader for a nation, for a church, for a community. But you can't hear God's voice when you're in the crowd. You must detach yourself. Come into the secret place. This is where your transformation takes place. This is where you receive power to transform the culture, the atmosphere, and even the people around you. Do you want to be the king of yourself? Do you want to see your ideas and your prayers come through? Then now is the right time for your understanding and knowledge. God, or His Spirit, appears to those who have made a commitment to pursue their dreams. The Spirit of God helps a multitude through one individual, and that individual is you. Whether you have an idea to invent something that will benefit humanity, or you want to provide good leadership or mentorship, or you want to preach the gospel, all of this is dependent on one thing: detaching yourself from others and your ability to focus, having faith and dedication to hard work. When you truly have love for others, you begin to detach from them. Detachment is not an absence of care, but rather an absence of attachment. You care, but you're not attached to the outcome. This is crucial for anyone who wants to make a real difference in the world. Detachment allows us to be more objective, more rational, and more focused in our pursuits. It allows us to take risks and be more open to new ideas. Detachment also gives us the freedom to be more authentic and honest in our relationships. When we are not attached to outcomes, we can be more vulnerable and honest with those around us. And this vulnerability and honesty can create deeper, more meaningful connections. So how do we detach from others? The first step is to become aware of our attachment issues. We must honestly assess our own motivations and desires and understand where our attachment stems from. Once we are aware of our attachment issues, we can begin to let go of the need to control outcomes. We must surrender our need for outcomes and accept the reality that we cannot control everything. This can be difficult, but it is essential if we want to detach from others. Detaching from people doesn't mean you love them any less. It simply means you recognize their need for independence and autonomy. You respect their choices and decisions, even if you don't agree with them. Detachment also means setting boundaries. It means being honest about your own needs and desires, and not being afraid to say no when necessary. Setting boundaries can be difficult, but it is essential if you want to detach from others and maintain your own sense of identity. When you detach from others, you free yourself to be your true self. You become more authentic, more honest, and more open in your relationships. And this newfound freedom can lead to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. So, if you want to be the king of yourself, if you want to see your ideas and prayers come through, then detach from others. Trust me, the benefits will far outweigh any challenges you may face. Please don't forget to hit a subscribe button, like or share our video.